Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on a real-world financial scam.
Mm.
We're moving beyond just the headlines to really get into the weeds, understand the nasty tactics they used.
Yeah, it's one thing to read about it, quite another to see how it actually, unfolds step by step.
Exactly. So what are we focusing on today?
We're looking at a specific case involving someone named Ghazala Din, and this is based directly on an account from one of the people she targeted.
Okay.
And our mission here really is to break down how these schemes work, from that very first contact right through to the frankly devastating losses. What happened, sure, but also why it was so effective.
Right. So let's start there, the beginning. How did this victim even cross paths with Ghazala Din? There's like a cold call, online ad, something like that.
No, nothing like that. It was much closer to home, really. The introduction came through a network, friends of friends,
Yeah.
apparently, at some kind of mutual gathering. This was back around July or August 2022.
Friends of friends. That already feels different.
It is. And what's interesting, too, is the distance. The victim was up in Manchester. Ghazala Din was based down in Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows that geography isn't really a barrier once that initial connection is made. The real vulnerability comes from that social link.
Okay, so they meet through this network.
Yeah.
What was the pitch? What was Ghazala Din selling?
She called it an investment scheme. The focus was supposedly on investing in houses, and she claimed this was done through the council.
Through the council.
Yeah.
That sounds designed to sound legitimate, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It gives it that immediate sort of official sounding stamp, makes people lower their guard thinking it's tied to some kind of government body. It's a clever way to disarm that initial skepticism.
Okay, so the bitch sounds plausible, at least on the surface.
Yeah.
Did she start asking for big money right away, or?
No, that's the classic tactic. They started small. The first thing victims saw were these little returns. In this case, it was pitched as £500 a year initially.
Like a little taste.
Exactly. It's bait. It builds credibility, makes it feel real, proof that it works, And once people believe that, then come the bigger promises.
Much right.
Things like £500 a month instead of just a year, and then a big lump sum payment supposedly coming at the end of the investment period. It escalates quickly from that small initial win.
And people bought into it, enough to invest serious money.
Tragically, yes. The victim we're focusing on, plus their sister and brother, they collectively invested just over 30 grand.
30,000 pounds, wow.
Yeah. The victim put in 20,000 pounds, the sister 9,000 pounds, and the brother 2,500 pounds. But it didn't stop there.
Oh.
The victim's brother had a friend, and there was also a work colleague. They invested another 10,000 of connections. We're talking well over 40 grand.
40 grand. And how are they paying? Cash?
No, it was all direct bank transfers, straight into Ghazala Din's Monzo account. Which just highlights how easy modern banking can, unfortunately, make these kinds of transactions for scammers.
Right. Easy to send. And I'm guessing those promised monthly payments didn't last long.
Not at all. They stopped completely after just a few months. Around November 2022, the money just dried up.
Just like that.
Yep. And the personal cost is immense. The victim mentioned their sister is a single parent. She'd apparently been skeptical at first, but invested her savings because Ghazala Din was so persistent.
That persistence.
Yeah.
How do they break down that caution, even when someone feels wary?
Well, the persistence is key, but it's often combined with urgency. Ghazala Din was apparently adamant, really pushing this idea that people would miss out if they didn't jump in quickly.
FOMO, fear of missing out.
Exactly that. It's a powerful psychological trigger. Makes people suspend judgment, act impulsively before thinking it through properly.
And wasn't there something about referrals, too? Getting bonuses?
Yes, absolutely. She offered bonuses for bringing new people into the scheme, which is particularly insidious, isn't it?
It turns victims into recruiters without them even realizing it.
Precisely. It uses their existing social circles, their trusted relationships, to spread the scam. It's like a virus using the host's own network. And it relies on social proof. If my friend is doing it, it must be okay, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Were there other tricks?
Oh, yes. There were these elaborate perks dangled as bait. For example, she promised paid holidays as part of the deal.
Seriously? Paid holidays?
Yeah. And the victim's family actually believed it enough that they booked tickets for a trip to Thailand. Which, of course, never happened. The money was gone.
That's just cruel, booking tickets.
It is. These perks are designed to hook people emotionally, paint this really desirable picture of the future, makes it even harder to accept you've been scammed later on.
And this wasn't a one-off for Ghazala Din, was it?
Apparently not. The victim heard from other people that she and her associates have allegedly been running similar schemes, maybe with slightly different details, but the same core mechanics, for well over 5 years.
Wow. So a long-term operation.
It suggests a pattern, yeah. Not just an isolated incident, but something more sophisticated, adaptable.
So wrapping this up then, the key takeaways from this deep dive into Ghazala Din's scam.
Yeah.
It seems to be this really toxic mix of exploiting social connections, dangling the promise of quick, easy money, and piling on the psychological pressure.
That's it in a nutshell. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What happens when trust itself, especially trust between friends or within a community, becomes the main tool for fraudsters?
Yeah.
And maybe the question for you listening is, how do you build up that critical thinking? How do you spot those red flags, even when the promise is so appealing and it's coming from someone you think you can trust?